5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise for
David Wright.
David Wright.
David.
The Afternoon Show
With David Wright. The comment section is open. Chat live to the DJ right now via our website.
And here he is, the legendary David Wright.
Very good afternoon and welcome to The Right Way with me, David Wright, this Thursday afternoon. Bit cloudy out there today, but still quite warm. More on the weather coming up a little bit later on, and a possible shortage of water here in Spain. That's all coming up on the show as well. And on the show today, I've got a special guest talking about Spanish, learning Spanish, languages, things like that. So loads of tips and advice as usual here on The Right Way, all coming up. And some love songs today, as I missed out yesterday on the love songs being Valentine's Day. So I'm going to have some of my favourite love songs here today. Love.
David Wright. Help and advice for living and working in Spain. You're listening to The Right Way. The Right Way with David Wright.
So I've got some news on mortgage help here in Spain. The government are going to be helping people buy their homes here in Spain. Some news on that coming up later on the show. And some water restrictions possibly here in Almeria very soon. Some problems with the water, lack of rain here in Spain. But some more news on that as well coming up. And yeah, I'd just like to say very sad news this week about Steve Wright, the presenter that died this week, age 69. It was one of the guys that I was listening to years ago when I first started work here as a carpenter and cabinet maker in my first factory. I worked in a factory for 7 years learning how to make furniture, and we used to have as young lads, we used to have the radio on Radio 1 listening to Steve Wright in the afternoon for sure. And yeah, big influence to me Steve Wright was. Loved his style and the banter and his crew. Absolutely amazing. It's a bit of a sad loss there. Steve Wright died 69 years old this week. Okay, so time for a bit of Phil Collins now. Phil Collins there, and You Can't Hurry Love. Got a love theme going on today as it was Valentine's Day yesterday, so lots of love songs. My favourite love songs this week.
The comment section is open. Chat live to the DJ right now via our website.
And here he is, the legendary David Wright.
Homes for Homes Almeria are a dedicated real estate agents in Almeria who have exceptional understanding of the market and the area. Smooth, stress-free transactions. That's Homes for Homes promise. Providing a professional and friendly service. So when you're ready to take the next step, contact Homes for Homes Almeria on 642 473 956 or see their banner advert on Almeria Radio website. Yeah, if you're looking for a property in Spain, buying, selling or renting, then go over and speak to Bev or Neil over on Homes for Homes there. See their banner advert on website and tell them David sent you from the radio.
when I say
Me, Elvis Presley there. Yeah, love a bit of Elvis. Okay, so remember, competition running here on my shows, not just on this show here on Almeria Gold, but over on my Friday show as well on Almeria Radio. This is a competition where you can win some great prizes and get an invite to a very special do coming up this summer as well. And if you want to find out how to enter the competition, go over onto my page and there's all the information there. That's over on the Right Way page here on Almeria Gold or Almeria Radio, or go over to davidwrightonline.com, davidwrightonline.com, and have a look at the information page there and get in the competition. Yeah, okay, so the water strikes or water restrictions, whatever you like to call it. So already in some parts of Spain, there are some water restrictions due to the lack of rain here in Spain. So in Benamagdana, Estepona, Figueroa, Marbella, Mijas and Torremolinos, already there are some water restrictions there on filling up your pools and what you can and can't do with your hose pipes and things like that. There's some councils have restricted the amount of water supplies to the houses as well. well. And this could be all over Spain if we do not get some heavy rain here very soon, according to the government experts. And yes, they're talking now as well about banning water filling up the swimming pools in hotels this year. That could be absolutely disastrous if that happens. You can imagine the knock-on effect for that. So coming on holiday and you go to the pool and there's no water there. So yeah, it's been very, very dry here this year. I think probably where I am near Almeria Airport, we've had about 3 days of rain and 2 or 3 days of heavy rain, and that's it, just a few spots really. So very, very dry here in Spain. We desperately need rain here in Spain. So continuing with the love songs today on my show, Barbra Streisand.
Live.
David Wright. David Wright.
David.
The Afternoon Show.
And good afternoon to Yanni in the comment section, and Peter G joining us. He's driving. Where if you're driving, Peter, hopefully not around the Murcia or Alicante area tomorrow, because tomorrow there's going to be some farmers protesting on the highways in up and around that area. So on the A7 in Murcia tomorrow, and also on the A31 around Alicante. Going to be lots of roadblocks out and very slow driving tractors and farm vehicles out there protesting about the prices. So that's a farmers protest. That's tomorrow on the A7 near Murcia and the A31 Alicante and surrounding areas. So watch out for that if you're out on the roads this weekend, or tomorrow anyway. Greatest dancer.
Live.
David Wright. David Wright.
David.
The Afternoon Show.
Okay, so I've got a guest going to be joining me in just a minute, and a bit later on in the show as well, some news on mortgages, how you can get 20% mortgage paid for by the government here in Spain. That's all coming up a little bit later on, and my guest will be joining me right after this.
You're listening to Almeria Gold.
Okay, so today I've got a special guest on my show. I've got Patrick Creighton. He's an English teacher, Spanish teacher, teaches a few languages, I think. And hi, and welcome to the show, Patrick.
Hi, thank you very much for having me, David, on the right way. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
So, Patrick, you're teaching languages to people here in Spain and all over the world. So tell us a little bit about you and your teaching skills.
Yeah, so at the moment, I run Laid Back Languages, which I started just over 4 years ago, which is actually teaching foreign languages to English natives. So I teach the languages that I've learned myself, so Spanish, French, and Italian primarily, sometimes a bit of Brazilian Portuguese as well, but mostly Spanish. At the moment, I'm teaching English people Spanish, which is where my kind of heart gets set on fire. You know, that's what my soul loves. I love getting English people speaking foreign languages so we can share our culture, share our wit abroad, because I don't think we foreigners see enough of that when we go abroad. We just kind of go there, drink, una cerveza por favor, you know. And actually, when you speak the language properly, you can really integrate into the cultures, and the reactions you get off the locals are just a world apart. I learnt my trade in Spain, though. As you mentioned, I did used to teach English in Spain. So that's where I kind of learned to teach, got good at teaching one-on-one. And yeah, I did that for 4 years in Spain. Then I came back to England and started my business teaching English people foreign languages. So doing it the other way around.
So, Patrick, you don't really need a qualification as such to teach Spanish people English here in Spain, do you?
No, I didn't have a qualification. I did do a TEFL, but it was just one of those online TEFL courses, and I quickly realized, actually, it's a load of BS. Do you know, the TEFL courses, people pay thousands for them, and you don't need to, unless you're going to go to somewhere like China or maybe the Middle East, where they pay big bucks to teachers. There, I would recommend getting a TEFL course, or a CELTA course is the other one. But certainly in Spain, there's absolutely no need. No, all you need to do is make sure you're the local giddy, and people know who you are, and just network. And that's where speaking Spanish comes in super handy. You're really like shooting yourself in the foot, I feel. I know for a fact, when I was living in Spain, because I worked for some academies, and I also worked for myself doing private lessons. And the private lessons, I had to communicate all in Spanish, you know. If I taught someone English, they didn't know any English at all, I had to communicate with them in Spanish. So without Spanish in that regard, I would have been completely lost. But for sure, man, it's completely feasible. If you're an English native living in Spain and you want to get a bit of extra pocket money or whatever, Spanish people, they're more than open to that, especially now. And we talked about a little bit about this on my channel as well. about how the mentality towards language learning is changing and it's shifting. People are realizing that the method that we were taught at school is just so outdated. And to be honest, I don't think it ever was in date, as in no one ever learned a foreign language at school. People studied for years. I hear people say they've studied French or Spanish at school for like 7, 8 years. And I'm like, you could be fluent in 3 languages in that time if you want.
Great. Okay, thanks, Patrick. And we'll be back with Patrick right after this.
Action is open. Chat live to the DJ right now via our website.
And here he is, the legendary David Wright.
So today on my show we're talking to Patrick Creighton about languages. A lot of these classes and courses, they teach you to read and write, but really you've got to get yourself out there and actually have a conversation with people and practice what you learn, don't you think?
Yeah, I think speaking from day one is something people should do if they want to get over the nerves as well that comes into it. If a lot of people, they start studying a language and they'll be like, right, okay, I want to learn Spanish, let's say. So they get on Duolingo and they spend 2-3 years kind of playing on that app. Then they're like, right, okay, I'm going to go speak to a Spanish person now. And lo and behold, they don't understand the Spanish person. They can't formulate sentences and they feel nervous as well. So I think diving into it straight away. And as you mentioned, what we're talking about here is the natural language learning method. It's how we all learn languages as kids. You spend the first few years of your life doing a lot of listening, which is the number one skill I help people get very, very good at very quickly, that most people are not good at and they neglect it. We spend years doing that, listening, and then we start to babble, and that's the speaking, yeah? Start to make the noises. It doesn't matter if the grammar's not correct. It doesn't matter that the verbs aren't perfectly conjugated. The important thing, and what kids focus on, is communicating with another person. That's what you want to focus on. Certainly in the first few years of learning a language. I personally, as a language learner myself, I would typically learn the language for about 3 years, and then I would start looking at the grammar. Which to some people would sound absolutely crazy. Oh, why would you do that? How are you going to learn a language, if you don't look at the grammar? And it's because I learn the grammar. I learn it because I'm listening to a person and I'm copying what they're saying. So I'm speaking good Spanish or French or Malay or whatever the language I'm learning. But then I look at the grammar and I'm like, oh, okay, so that's why they say what they say. And it just makes a lot more sense doing it that way. It's the logical way of learning.
Yeah, it's okay learning parrot fashion these phrases a little bit, but you've also got to remember to respond to the answers. What is, like, you're going to the bathroom, you ask where is the bathroom, and you've got to be ready for the response. And when they tell you it's at the end of the road, it's on the left, it's on the right, so you've got to be ready for the answers as well, don't you think?
Yeah, of course. People aren't prepared for the answers, that's the thing, because they're trying to learn the way we were taught, in the sense that at school, when you're forced to cram things into your short-term memory and then just spit it out onto a page. And that's just not the reality of an interaction with another human being. They focus on getting us saying certain things perfectly at school. But what you want to focus on, guys, is communicating. You want to communicate to the other person. If you have that as your kind of goal, then that will be the result.
Thanks very much for that, Patrick. And we'll be back with Patrick right after this. Back in the studio with Patrick Creighton, and a funny story, Patrick, I'm sure you've got one.
Well, my one's language related, honestly. It's a standout one that comes to mind when someone says, oh, you got any funny language learning kind of stories? I guess, yeah, we're on radio in Spain, right? They're okay with a few naughty words, aren't they, in Spain? I remember I was very shocked when I got there, and the way the kids speak, it's quite a vulgar way they kind of speak compared to like the South Americans, right? So I'm happy sharing this. Okay, so basically I was in Madrid, and this is the first time I was actually in Spain, because I did move to Alicante, but I went to Madrid for a few months to teach English and just be there and learn a bit of Spanish, right? So my Spanish was next to nothing, non-existent. And I knew in Spanish you've got to agree the ends of the words, right? So if a word is feminine, you got to put an A on it. If it's masculine, you got to put an O on it. So I was focused in on this at the moment. I was trying to learn this. So I went to a lady who was selling roast chickens. Okay, you can. Spanish speakers will have an idea what I'm about to say. So roast chickens. Okay, she did like full chickens, and I remember on there, I wanted to ask for a whole chicken, right? So because I was so focused on asking and getting the endings correctly, I said, okay, hola, buenas tardes, buenas tardes. Hola, quiero. I said, quiero. Yeah, that's I want. Good stuff. Quiero una polla entera. Quiero una polla entera. And then she looked at me like, are you sure that's what you want? And the worst thing is I didn't even know what I'd asked for until after, because she gave me un pollo entero, no? A whole chicken, pollo, chicken entero, like entire, whole. But what I had asked for was, different. Grammatically, it was perfect because I agreed the ending. So I was chuffed with myself. I was like, yeah, quiero una polla entera. You know, I want a whole dick, basically. And luckily, she gave me a chicken instead of what I asked for. But that's the standout one I can think of.
Yeah. Without going into detail, you need to be careful when you're asking for chicken. Just look it up if you're not sure.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm a vegetarian, so I don't have that issue anymore. But
okay, that's brilliant. Well, thanks very much for joining us. That's Patrick Creighton there. Thanks for joining us on the show today, Patrick.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Okay, we'll just say hi to Simon in the comments section. Hi, Simon. What's the weather like where you are? A bit overcast here in Almeria today, but still pretty warm.
You're listening to Almeria Gold 95.5. David Wright. Help and advice for living and working in Spain. You're listening to The Right Way. The Right Way. With David Wright.
You're listening to The Right Way with me, David Wright, Almeria Radio, I said it again, haven't I? Almeria Gold, 95.5 FM. Yeah, Almeria Radio tomorrow, 4 o'clock, my show there. And don't forget, Wine Time Friday on the show tomorrow on our sister station, Almeria Gold, where we have a top expert in from Madrid giving us tips on wines that we should try out. So listening to that tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Okay, so the government has made some announcements about mortgages and mortgage help here, trying to help people when they get on the property ladder here in Spain. And now the government have decided that they will guarantee 20% of the mortgage if it's taken out by people who are 35 years of age or under. They will guarantee the 20% guarantee of the mortgage, and also families with children whose income is less than 37,800 a year. So if you're less than 37,800 a year, 20% guaranteed by the government here. And wait for it, some more news as well. The 37,800 will be double if the property is bought between two people and they ask for a joint mortgage. So if they want a joint mortgage, that 37,800 is double. So the government here in Spain is trying to help people get on the property ladder. That might be a step up for you if you're at age 35 or under. Okay, so a little bit of an update on my project. So some of you know, some of you have been following me. I've got this media project that's underway and about to kick off here in Almeria. Now, this is the Voz de Almeria. It's the biggest national newspaper in Andalusia, and they've got a sister station, TV company, radio stations, the lot. It's a big media company, and they've asked me to head up a new promotion. It's an online website and an online magazine and app, and we're looking for salespeople. So if you're thinking about getting into the career of sales, this is a commission-based 20% commissions for generating any adverts or any new income from this business. So yeah, this is a proper job. This is not just one or two people. We're looking for a sales team. You can do this from anywhere in the world. You can do it online or face-to-face. And if you want to know more information about this, then just info me at davidwrightonline.com. That's info at davidwrightonline.com. Info at davidwrightonline.com. Sales position. There's several positions here, and it could lead to a permanent job later on if this project takes off. So if you're interested in that, selling some advertising space, fairly straightforward, fairly easy. I'll give you some more info if you email me now.
Live.
David Wright. David Wright.
David.
The Afternoon Show.
So Simon's up in Seville, and Simon, what was it, 4 years ago we met? I can't believe it's gone so quick. It might even be longer than that. I was in Seville, met up with Simon up there in Seville. Seville is my favourite city of all cities after Almeria, obviously. But I love it in Seville. Been there many times. My wife used to work up there quite a lot, so we go up there for long weekends, and brilliant. I love it in Seville. And the last 3 times I've been there, I've tried to find that weapons museum everyone's talked to me about, but I finally, on the last time, though, I was told where it was, but I must have walked past it. I think it's round behind the Plaza de España. Maybe Simon can enlighten me on that, but the next time I go up there, I've definitely got to check it out. There's supposed to be a fantastic weapons museum up there. Have you been, Simon? Maybe you can tell us what it's like.
Come and join us.
Okay, so we were talking earlier to Patrick on the show about languages and learning Spanish and English and teaching English to the Spanish people here. Well, in October last year, I started on an online course here with some Spanish people and learning how to teach English or any language. In this fact, you can use this course to teach any language to other people. So I joined up this course, and it's run by Javier, who's a linguistics professor. He's got his PhD in linguistics, and he speaks about 5 languages, I think, at the moment. And I enrolled in his course, and it's still an ongoing course. I'm still doing it, and it's how to teach another language to people. So I decided that I wanted to teach English to Spanish people here to make a little bit of a side income, and I had my first student yesterday. I've got another lesson tomorrow and 2 more next week. So it's working out really well, and it's no reading and no writing at all. It's something that anybody can do. It's a great opportunity for British people living in Spain, a way of earning an extra income. And if you want to find out more about that, just go over to my website. It's davidwrightonline.com, and have a look on the information page there. Soft Cell there, Tainted Love, brilliant song that, and Simon's singing away up there in Seville, I bet. I think if I was to do karaoke, and I've never done karaoke in my life, I've absolutely no chance of getting me up at karaoke, but I think that is a song that I probably would sing. I know the words to that one, but brilliant song there. Okay, so if you're out on the roads tomorrow, be very careful up in Murcia. The A7 is going to be farmer strikes up there. The roads are going to be blocked, or very slow going farm vehicles protests up there. There's a motorway protests going on tomorrow, and also in Alicante on the A31. This is tomorrow. There's slow moving traffic and probably some roadblocks up there as well. The farmers are protesting up there in that area, so be careful on the roads tomorrow.
You're listening to...
So I told you a little bit earlier on about the possible water shortages here in Almeria and Lucia area. Already there's some restrictions going on in Benamagdana, Estepona, Fingarola, Marbella, Mijas and Torremolinos. The council are limiting supplies of water already there, and they're saying that if we don't get some good amount of rain in the next few weeks, Almeria could see some start to some water shortages or restrictions at least. And they're talking about, I see it on television last night, they're talking about hotels, especially up in the Barcelona and Catalonia area, that they might not be able to fill up their swimming pools this summer. That could be a bit of a nightmare for the tourist industry, but what do you think on that one? Okay, Simon, there's another one for you to sing along to. Yeah, so Simon, 4 years ago, wow, that has gone quick, hasn't it? A long time ago, 4 years, that's incredible. And Seville is an amazing place. If you haven't yet visited Seville, I thoroughly recommend you try it. It is a fantastic place to visit. There's so much to see and do. I've been there about 7 times now, I think, and stayed up there. And, when my wife was working up there, I used to drive around and walk around all the back streets, get myself lost and just immerse myself in the culture there. It's amazing. And if you get a chance to go over to Triana there, that is beautiful as well. But there's several big films have been made there. Night and Day with Tom Cruise was made there. The Star Wars trilogy, some of them were made up there in the Plaza de España, the backdrop there. Actually, I saw one of the Star Wars films briefly on telly the other day, and I thought, blimey, I know that place is. And Lawrence of Arabia, believe it or not. Lawrence of Arabia. They filmed some of that up there in Seville. I think it was when he was going into the offices there. They used the Plaza de España for that as well. And Game of Thrones, lots of major famous films made in Seville, and it's an absolutely amazing place. The only thing I say is stay away in July and August. It gets extremely hot up there, but some amazing tapas as well. And if you get a chance over on the bridge there, I can't remember what it's called now, the main bridge there in Seville over the river, there's a restaurant there. I can't remember what that's called now for the life of me. I've just had it on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, I've eaten there a couple of times. There's a restaurant. There's only one building on the bridge itself, and if you walk up there, there's a restaurant on the roof. It's amazing views up there. It's a little bit expensive, but some amazing food there. If you ever get to Seville, you need to go and try that out in Seville. And look up Simon. Tell him David said hi.
Live.
David Wright. David Wright.
David.
The Afternoon Show.
You're listening to Al Maria Gold.
Yes, Simon, that's exactly right. You got it right there. That is the name of the restaurant in the comments box there. And yeah, it was on the bridge, the Triana Bridge. Brilliant. Yeah, I've eaten there a couple of times. We head downstairs in the winter time. It's getting a bit cold and windy up on the top there, on the roof terrace, because it's completely open. But my stepsister was in Seville. How long ago was that now? It was some time ago. And we celebrated her birthday there. And we had a table for, I think it was 15 of us up on the roof terrace there. And it was a beautiful day up there. The weather was fantastic, but it does get a little bit chilly when the wind blows in the afternoon after lunch. But they supplied everybody with a little and really nice blanket to put over your legs while we were eating there, just to keep the chill off. But the views up the river there are amazing. So yeah, if you get a chance to go to Seville, definitely check that out. It's not the cheapest of place, I must admit. It's pretty expensive, but they do cheaper meals downstairs in the downstairs bar, and just across the bridge there, right in that same road, there's some brilliant tapas bars there on the left and right hand side there, the pedestrian precinct there. And I'm sure Simon knows where I'm talking about, but brilliant raciones, actually, not just the tapas, the raciones. That's a little bit bigger plates of food there, and the tapas aren't free there, but the tapas are amazing. And the raciones, where you get a plate a little bit bigger, and it's a mixture of tapas to share for 2 or 4 people. That is amazing as well, so definitely check that out. Okay, so where we're going now, let's have a little bit of Frank Sinatra. Summer Wind there, Frank Sinatra. Yeah, so the other thing, Simon, was when the last time I was up in Seville with my wife, she was working most of the day, but in the afternoon, early evening, we went on the tower there, where they bring in the gold on the river there, the famous tower building, and it's a bit of a museum, and we had a guide there walking us around. There was only 2 of us walking around there, and they were explaining about how the boats used to come in with all the gold that the Spanish robbed from the Mexicans many years ago, and the boats would come over and unload the gold there. And yeah, there's some in the museum. And one of those stories that made me laugh, especially in front of my Spanish wife, was how the Spanish used to get robbed by the English boats that used to wait for the Spanish to go over to Mexico, rob all the gold, and then as they was off the coast of Spain, the English boats would come in and rob the Spanish and take it back to the UK. So yeah, that was quite a funny story. I said to my wife that the English are pretty intelligent and let the Spanish do all the work, so she didn't like that story. But there you go. It's the gold tower there where the boats come in. That's again another place well worth a visit if you're going up to Seville. Into the right way with me, David Wright, Al Maria Gold 95.5 FM. And remember, I'm back here again tomorrow over on our sister station, Al Maria Radio 107.5 FM. It's at 4 o'clock tomorrow, 4 o'clock Spanish time. And I'm going to be giving you tips and advice on living and working in Spain tomorrow. And remember, we have Wine Time Friday tomorrow on the show. My expert, Amy Bingham from Madrid, the wine expert. She's going to give us a recommendation. Each week she gives us a new bottle of wine where you need to try out, a little bit of history behind it, the price and where you can get it from. Now last week Amy gave us a really good example of a great Spanish cava and white wine, and I actually bought one of the bottles that she recommended, and she was right. I didn't get a hangover the next day. I did try and drink the whole bottle with myself, but my wife she made me share it, so yeah, maybe that's because I shared it, but didn't have a hangover at all. And normally after a couple of glasses of wine, it'll normally get me a bit of a headache effect next day, but that did not, and she was quite right on that. That was our wine expert Amy over on Wine Time Friday, only on the Right Way, Al Maria Radio. That's tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Okay, so 2 in a row now from the love experts, the Bee Gees.
Live.
David Wright. David Wright.
David.
The Afternoon Show.
Okay, so remember, if you want any of the tips and advice, you want to see the replays, you want any of the information I give out on my shows, just go over to The Right Way with me, David Wright, or you can click over on the drop-down menu on the right-hand side on the comment section and the information page, davidwrightonline.com, the information page, and you can get access to all the information. And remember, you can take up this course that I'm doing here, this Spanish course, and teaching English to Spanish people, earn a little bit of extra income. And remember, I'm also looking for sales staff for this new project. This is 20% commissions you can earn working online from anywhere, or you can do it face-to-face in the street with people if you wish. It's a 20% commissions. These are reoccurring commissions. You can earn some decent money with this. If you want to come and check it out, that's the information page, or you just email me at info@davidwrightonline.com, info@davidwrightonline.com. Be part of this big media project.
You're listening.
Wow, that was a tune, wasn't it? Meatloaf there, Dead Ringer for Love.
David Wright. Help and advice for living and working in Spain. You're listening to The Right Way. The Right Way with David Wright.
Well, that's just about it for another show. Thanks very much, everybody, for joining me in the comment section. Hi, Sharon and Steve. Thanks for joining us. And remember, tomorrow over on our sister station, Al Maria Radio 107.5 FM, 4 o'clock tomorrow, The Right Way with me, David Wright. More tips and advice. And remember, we've got my top wine expert, Amy, in tomorrow on the show. She's going to be giving us some more top tips on wines for the weekend. Some great tips and advice on wines there from Amy. That's on The Right Way with me, David Wright, tomorrow at 4 o'clock on our sister station. Thanks very much for listening, guys, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.
That's all, folks.